Married with Children will not be seen tonight so that we may bring you the following Channel 9 sports presentation. Stay tuned as the New York Mets take on the Atlanta Braves next.
Live from Shea Stadium in New York, tonight the Mets take on the Atlanta Braves. Mets Baseball 93 is brought to you by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. By AT&T, the best in the business. By your Tri-State Toyota dealers, I love what you do for me, Toyota. By Chemical, expect more from us. By Macy's, we're part of your life. By Coca-Cola, always Coca-Cola with the Mets. And by your Tri-State Quality Ford dealers. See your Ford dealer. See for yourself. Pitching for the Braves tonight, Tom Glavine, a left-hander with a record of 13-4, an earned run average of 3.11. And on the mound for the Mets, Eric Hillman. He has won 1 and lost 5. His earned run average, 4.42.
A quick look at the National League Eastern Division standings. The St. Louis Cardinals 6 games behind the Philadelphia Phillies, with Montreal 10 back. Meanwhile, in the National League Western Division, it's the Atlanta Braves 9.5 back from the San Francisco Giants with 49 games to play. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another evening of Mets baseball. I'm Tim McCarver, along with Ralph Kiner. A very important series for the Atlanta Braves, but when you're 9.5 back with that few games to play, 49, every game seems to be important.
Yeah, it's that time of year where they start counting. This is about the time of year when the Mets came from way behind, about 13 games back against the Chicago Cubs in 1969. Also, the 1951 Giants came from behind about this time. This is when you have to start thinking about playing good baseball. The tough thing for the Atlanta Braves, the poor Atlanta Braves, is that, well, they're not exactly poor. I mean, they're drawing very well. But the tough thing is the fact that the Giants are just playing sensational baseball.
The Giants won again today at Candlestick 2-1. A couple of left-handers tonight. Eric Hillman against Tommy Glavine right after this from Bud Light.
Welcome back to Shea Stadium. We have with us Ryan Thompson, who has returned to the New York Mets after a fine start with the Mets last year. A slow start at the beginning of this year, went down to the minors, and now back again. And Ryan, is there any difference to you now that you're back?
Well, I'm just trying to relax and just let things fly. Pretty much just play and keep my mouth closed.
Well, you certainly have thrilled the fans with your great defense, and you've been hitting the ball very well up until yesterday, hitting over 300 since coming back, and things seem to be in place for you. And it's got to be a lot more fun when you're hitting well and fielding well.
Well, right now I'm just trying to, like I said, let everything fly, take all the pressure off myself, and just go out and play and have some fun.
Well, we enjoy watching you play, and thanks a lot for coming on.
No problem, anytime.
Ryan Thompson will return right after this word from Chemical.
Absolutely splendid here at Shea Stadium this evening. A fine crowd on hand to see the first of 3 night games between the Atlanta Braves and the New York Mets. Very low humidity, a little wind, and very, very comfortable weather here at Shea Stadium. The umpires are out. Jerry Crawford will be the crew chief of the umpires. The lineups have been exchanged. And the Mets are ready to take the field. Atlanta has played 113 games. They are the defending National League champions. Bobby Cox, their fine manager, taking over in the 1990 season. Coming down out of the front office, he was the general manager for the Braves from 1986 through 1989. And his third base coach, Jimmy Williams, succeeded Bobby as manager of the Toronto Blue Jays when Bobby left to go back to Atlanta. It's his second tenure with the Atlanta Braves. Also a manager for Atlanta in the late 70s. Dallas Green managed the Philadelphia Phillies to a world championship in 1980. And then he took over as general manager of the Chicago Cubs in 82. He managed the Yankees in 89. And he took over in mid-May as manager of the Mets. Eric Hillman on the mound. And on the year, Eric is 1-5. That one victory, a shutout. He did have 17 consecutive scoreless innings at one time, and also had 38 2/3 straight walkless innings. So Eric, a 1-5 record, but he has pitched better than that.
And he will be working against this Atlanta Braves lineup. Batting as a team at .254, but when you look at the names, they're very impressive. Otis Nixon will lead it off. He's in center field. Batting second, the shortstop, Jeff Blauser. Batting third, the left fielder, Ron Gant. Batting fourth, the newly acquired Fred McGriff, acquired from San Diego. Batting in the fifth position, Terry Pendleton. Batting sixth, the right fielder, Dave Justice. Batting seventh, the late-minute substitution, Damon Berryhill. The eighth batter will be Mark Lemke, the second baseman, and Tommy Glavine, the pitcher, batting ninth.
The defense for the New York Mets finds Dave Gallagher in left field, Ryan Thompson in center, and Jeremy Burnitz in right field. Jeff McKnight in there for the injured Bobby Bonilla. That left thumb that Bobby injured on Sunday still bothering him. Tim Bogar, the shortstop. Jeff Kent has swung a red-hot bat for the Mets over the last month. Eddie Murray at first has been consistent all year long, and Charlie O'Brien behind the plate. The umpires for tonight's game, we mentioned them: Jerry Crawford, the crew chief; Bill Cuzzy at first base; Brian Gorman also in his first year; and Steve Ripley in his 10th year. And there's AY. Anthony Young, the guest of Tonight Show host Jay Leno last night. He lost 27 in a row and was quite a hit. I did not see the show. I did see a clip from it earlier today. And AY quite a hit with Jay Leno in the Tonight crowd.
Big time.
Tonight, Otis Nixon leads it off and takes a strike. Nixon batting .228 with a home run, 25 stolen bases, and a lot of infield hits, 4 of them bunts. Strike 2 to Nixon, 0-2.
He had 32 infield hits last year with 17 bunt base hits, so you have to really guard against his speed.
.296 hitter a year ago. 34 years old, from Evergreen, North Carolina. Just outside. 2-2 now to Nixon.
One time in the Yankee organization.
Foul back. Wedding bells chimed for a couple of the Braves this past winter. David Justice marrying the actress Halle Berry, and Otis Nixon married the former Mrs. Sugar Ray Leonard on December 21st, 1992 in Jamaica. High, ball 3, 3-2. You do not want to put Nixon on. He's a catalytic converter. Jeff Blauser on deck. High, ball 4. So how do you figure? We talked about Hillman with 38 2/3 consecutive walkless innings, and he walks Nixon to lead off this game.
He has averaged just 1.5 walks per game per 9 innings. So he walks the one guy he doesn't want to walk in this lineup.
That, by the way, was not coming into this game. That streak of 38 2/3 ended last Thursday in Montreal. Here's Jeff Blauser batting .291, and that's a strike. Jeff, his first All-Star game in Baltimore this year. Throw to first, and Nixon back easily. Remember, Nixon with 25 stolen bases. Not running, and the pitch is high. Ball one. 1-1 to Blauser. Atlanta playing in possibly the best hitting ballpark in the National League. Cincinnati may be a bit better. You had to look at Jimmy Williams, the third base coach. But Jeff Blauser batting .346 on the road and under .250 in Atlanta.
He's been in a bit of a slump, 5 for 40, so his average has come down. He was off to a great start.
Pitch out. Ball two. 2 balls and 1 strike now to Jeff Blauser. Four for 7 this year, as Hillman is 0-2 against the Braves. That was close. Nixon going back, standing up. Lou Brock never went back head first into first base. Maury Wills rarely went back standing going into first base.
Your body takes a tremendous beating when you go back in head first.
Fastball catches the corner. 2-2 to Blauser. And on deck, Ron Gant. Line to left, base hit. So Blauser on a 2-2 pitch knocks it to left, and left fielder Dave Gallagher bobbled it momentarily. Nixon stops at second. First hit of the ball game, and the Braves threaten with 2 on and nobody out, and Ron Gant coming up.
This is a fastball, and it was really hit hard by Blauser. It continues to hit well on the road. Gallagher has to make a quick recovery. Otis Nixon, the runner at second base, made a break for third and then did stop after Gallagher got to it.
And when you're going into second, if you're Nixon, you can't make a wide turn if Gallagher catches it cleanly and comes up throwing at second. He could be throwing behind you to catch you. So it's understandable that he did not go to third base, as Ron Gant is the batter with 27 home runs on the year. Slider low. Nice play, O'Brien. Ralph, you mentioned the .254 team average for the Braves. A couple of the players, Gant included, Gant and Pendleton namely, going poorly up until early May, until they picked it up considerably. Kent covering on that throw to try to nail Nixon. Gant batting only .195 on May 9th. Outside, ball 2, 2-0. And a deadly pull hitter. He loves the fastball. You can rarely jam him. So Hillman in the hole, 2-0. Bobby Wine, Dallas Green. And Bobby Wine pointing to center fielder, Ryan Thompson. I really don't know what that was all about.
Still about the same defensive alignment.
Low, ball 3. 3-0 to Ron Gant, and I would think he would be hitting here. Matter of fact, he looks down at Jimmy Williams, the third base coach, and Jimmy Williams turned his back on him.
You're on your own, and if you're on your own, hit away.
Well, he was taken all the way. We may have picked up their take sign.
Turn your back on the hitter.
Turn your back on the hitter. Gant doesn't even bother to look down now with the count 3-1. Nobody out. 2 on here in the first. There go the runners. Swing and a miss. Throw to third. Out at third base. Charlie O'Brien has thrown out 5 in a row with a perfect throw. His throwing has been remarkable.
He has averaged 39% in throwing out base runners, which is extremely high, and he makes a perfect throw and a very difficult throw. The runners both got good jumps. He makes a very quick throw, and it's perfect. He has to throw over the right-hand batter, who did swing through the ball. That hinders you to some extent, and there it is.
Talk about a break. Had Gant taken that pitch, the bases are loaded and nobody's out. He almost went after that fastball. Ralph, we talked about it many times, that running on a 3-1 count in the early innings. I think that is an offensive situation. You know, a guy who does not do that is Jim Fregosi of the Phillies.
Well, you talked to him about that.
Yeah,
he said, right. I don't believe in it. And in the past, they never believed in it. When you got a home run hitter up there, you want him to pick his pitch, not have to worry about protecting base runners. 27 home runs for Gant, and they had him running. Had the runners running.
Here's Fred McGriff. And the slider is over. Strike 1. 0-1 to McGriff. So many batters see those runners running, and on borderline pitches, they become defensive hitters in an offensive situation. That pitch was low to Gant. Another slider to McGriff's in there. 0-2.
McGriff has really picked up the Atlanta Braves in his 18 game starts with Atlanta. He's hit .370 with 7 home runs in those 18 games.
4 of those homers against left-handed pitching. He's jammed there, fouls it off. 0-2 now to Fred McGriff. 1 out, 2 on here in the first on a splendid evening.
Since the acquisition of McGriff from San Diego, they are 13-6. And they have averaged 6 runs a game since he joined their lineup, as compared to 4 runs a game before he joined the lineup. And that's quite a jump.
Over that 20-game period, they've gained exactly 0 on the Giants entering tonight.
That's got to be a little bit heartbreaking when you play that well and don't gain ground.
Ground ball right side. Eddie Murray will go to second base to get Gant. Even though Hillman was late in covering, the ball was not hit hard enough to get the double play, but there are 2 outs with runners at the corners.
Oh, Murray makes the wise play and the easy play and picks up the out at second. And that'll bring up Terry Pendleton.
Terry Pendleton hitting .148 up until May 5th, but .300 in his last 84 games to be at .260. Tapped right side, and Hillman's going to get out of it thanks to the fine throwing of Charlie O'Brien. No runs ahead, 2 left. No score with the Mets coming up after this from your Chevrolet dealer. Bottom of the first inning, and the Mets will be facing a tough left-hander, Tommy Glavine, trying to win 20 for the 3rd year in a row.
And he'll be working to this lineup brought to you by our Ford Tri-State dealers. It'll be Ryan Thompson leading off in center, Jeff McKnight playing third base, Eddie Murray at first base, batting the cleanup position, Dave Gallagher, batting 5th, Jeff Kent, the second baseman, batting 6th, Charlie O'Brien, the catcher, batting 7th, Jeremy Burnitz, the right fielder, batting 8th, the shortstop, Tim Bogar, and the pitcher, Eric Hillman, batting 9th.
And Ryan Thompson takes a strike from Tommy Glavine. 0-1 to the Mets center fielder, who rejoined the Mets for the 2nd time on July 24th. Way outside, and boy, that's vintage Glavine right there. The first pitch is a call strike, and then he expands the strike zone.
He throws that little tail away pitch low and outside the right-hand batters constantly, and he has immaculate control.
Left center, Ron Gant over, and he makes the catch. Defense for the Braves, Ron Gant in left field, Otis Nixon in center, and David Justice in right forms a very good defensive outfield. Terry Pendleton at third, Jeff Blauser at short, Mark Lemke at second base, Fred McGriff at first, and Damon Berryhill behind the plate. Tommy Glavine with 197 starts. That is consecutive starts from the beginning of his career, and that is a major league record. The pitcher with the most starts without an appearance in the bullpen, Steve Carlton, with 534 straight starts, but those were not from the beginning of his career. Ground ball up the middle. Lemke can't get it, so Jeff McKnight is on with the first net hit of the ball game. Jeff McKnight starting in place of the injured Bobby Bonilla, and that'll bring up Eddie Murray. Well, we mentioned starts, and that brings to mind Brett Saberhagen, out with arthroscopic knee surgery yesterday morning. It was successful. Bobby Jones, wearing number 28, was brought up. He has yet to appear in a ball game. And more on Brett Saberhagen. I'm sure all of you folks out there familiar with the bleach incident after a Mets-Marlin game on July 27th. As Murray fouls it back, 0-1. A member of the Mets team threw bleach on some writers, and the writers in question, Dave D'Alessandro and Mark Herman, who had bleach on their clothing. The Mets investigated the incident, found out it was Brett Saberhagen, and we will have that information for you between pitches, as the changeup is 0-2. The Mets statement, there were actually 2 statements sent out following the completion of an in-house investigation of the bleach spraying incident by Mets General Counsel Dave Howard and subsequent consultations with the Players Association. Pitcher Brett Saberhagen has come forward to accept responsibility for the incident, which occurred on July 27th as Murray is down on strikes. The club and Saberhagen have agreed that Saberhagen will donate 1 day's pay, approximately $15,000, to a charity or charities to be designated by the New York chapter of the Baseball Writers Association of America. In addition, the club and Saberhagen have agreed that upon his return from the disabled list, Saberhagen will miss a number of days yet to be specified, in the form of a suspension, of course, as Dave Gallagher's the batter. And Brett Saberhagen had a statement in which he apologized to the writers, said his intention was simply to paint an employee's jeans with bleach, but unfortunately, in trying to get the bleach to the front of the squirt gun he was using, he squeezed it too hard and accidentally shot it to the air, and it landed on the 2 reporters in question, Dave D'Alessandro and Mark Herman. Brett has apologized, and in unison with the Mets and the Baseball Writers Association of America New York chapter, $15,000 will be given to charity. 0-1 to Dave Gallagher. Nothing in 2. You kind of hope after this year is over, Ralph, that the Mets players and some Mets players will have learned a very valuable lesson. There is a difference between practical joking and prankstering when nothing is used, and then when you go about using either bleach or a firecracker or whatever. There's a big difference. And one is hopeful that they have learned that lesson this year. It has been a disaster on and off the field. Horrible public relations problem for the Mets and the players in question, and bad for the image of baseball players in general. 1-2 to Gallagher. And Gallagher down on strikes, and the Mets go with a hit. They strand a runner, and after 1 inning, no score. And Ralph and I will be back after this from Budweiser. No score, top of the 2nd inning. You're watching Mets Baseball 93 on Channel 9, WWOR TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. Our flagship station since 1962 with the Mets. Tim McCarver, Ralph Kiner on a lovely, lovely summer evening. Almost like late September tonight.
Nice dry air.
David Justice, the batter, batting .266 with 26 home runs.
You know, Tim, getting back to the Saberhagen incident, excuse the pun, but they certainly whitewashed the Deion Sanders thing that happened to you when he threw 3 buckets of ice water on you in the clubhouse.
Charlie O'Brien makes the catch. 1 out.
That situation certainly is not tolerable, and he more or less got away with it. And these things have got to stop. There's no question about it. I mean, it's not just sort of pranks. These things are dangerous. And fines now to ball players when they're in the small brackets really don't mean anything unless the Saberhagen situation is a pretty heavy fine. Suspension of salary for him is $15,000 a day.
That's a major fine, all right. Or fine. 0-1 to Damon Berryhill. Strike 2. 0-2 to Damon. He was a late replacement for Greg Olson, who was out with a strained lower back. One ball, 2 strikes to Damon Berryhill. No score here in the 2nd inning. Way inside, ball 2, 2-2. Damon, formerly with the Chicago Cubs, had a big home run in Game 1 of the World Series last year, won by the Atlanta Braves after that dramatic victory against the Pittsburgh Pirates in the 9th inning with 2 outs, scoring all 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th to win the National League Championship for the 2nd year in a row. Berryhill down on strikes. First strikeout for Hillman. And that'll bring up Mark Lemke, the 2nd baseman.
Berryhill breaking up Doc Gooden's no-hitter back in 1988 with a single with no one out in the 8th inning. So he's made a mark on the Mets too. No Mets pitchers ever pitched on a no-hit, no-run game.
Yeah, he also got his first major league home run in this ballpark against David Cone in the 10th inning.
That was a big one.
That put the Cubs up 1-0. And then David Cone and the Mets came back to win that game 2-1.
On Howard Johnson's home run.
Lemke hammers one to left, and Gallagher can't come up with it. Dave Gallagher, a valiant try, but Lemke has a double, the second Atlanta hit.
Well, Lemke, who had a tremendous World Series 2 years ago, has career highs in home runs. He's had 7 this year, and also in runs batted in with 39. He's becoming a giant as a hitter, showing quite a bit of power. That was his 17th two-base hit.
So Dave Gallagher has played errorless ball in the outfield for the Mets. Hit hard to left, base hit by Tommy Glavine. He will be held. Lemke will be held, and now they've got Glavine in a rundown. McKnight will go to third. The throw home. Out at home. So the Mets execute beautifully. Tommy Glavine rounding first too widely. And the Braves are down without scoring here in the second. We will be back after this from Kohler.
Well, back here at Shea Stadium, a beautiful execution of a very difficult play. Gallagher fires home. They stop the runner at third. Glavine, who hit the single to left field, is now trapped off first base. McKnight runs right at him, which is what you want to do. You prefer to turn him to first base, but now McKnight picks up the runner in between third and home, and the throw home is in plenty of time, and Lemke is an easy out. So bad base running by Glavine and good execution by the New York Mets.
Especially Jeff McKnight. That's why you hit the cutoff man. Another reason why you hit the cutoff man.
So execution, A1. Those are tough plays to execute correctly, but if you don't do it the right way, it doesn't happen.
Now, speaking of doing it the right way, all of baseball is hopeful that the next 2 weeks will be handled the right way. We mentioned going into that our commercial break that you had a chance to hear from one of our sponsors, Kohler. Well, the Major League club owners will be holding a very, very important meeting in Kohler, Wisconsin, the home office of our sponsors. They make toilets and bathroom fixtures, tubs, sinks. As Jeff Kent is the batter, and he taps one up the middle. It's going to find a hole. So Jeff Kent, even when he doesn't make great contact, finds a hole, and that has been the story of his past 5 weeks. He has been red hot.
Charlie O'Brien.
He has hit in 6 of his last 7 coming in, so that's 7 out of 8. And he's had 15 hits in 28 at-bats over that period, so he has been hot. The Rays' average to its highest point, 280 before that single.
Charlie O'Brien, the batter. The subject that will be discussed and voted upon among the 28 owners, revenue sharing and salary cap. Those are the key categories to share with the players, all forms of revenue similar to the National Basketball Association. And most of the owners have said if there is revenue sharing, there must be a salary cap. And then Richard Ravitch, the owner's representative, will take it to the Players Association. And it'll be up to the Players Association to vote on it if it goes through the owners. So it's a very important 2 weeks coming up.
Bill White, the president of the National League, said it could be the most important time in baseball.
I saw that, yeah.
The players have threatened to execute a strike before they get into the playoffs. So that's a possibility.
Right around Labor Day seems to be the time, if the players are going to walk, that would obviously, and a strike helps no one.
Players figuring that the money's derived from the network for the World Series and playoff games would be a big penalty if they do not go to the Major League Ball clubs themselves.
O'Brien fouls one back on the hit and run. It's 2 balls and a strike to Charlie with Jeff Kent on at first and nobody out. About 75% of the money we understand will come in from CBS and ESPN. And if that number is right, that would be about $270 million.
Which is divided between all the Major League Ball clubs equally.
Two and one to O'Brien. No score here in the second inning. Nice play, Berryhill. Now that's a play when you see the catcher go down, you've got to take off for second base, in my opinion.
You have to be extremely alert because you don't have a whole lot of time. The catcher loses his footing.
The minute he goes down, do you know what it takes for him to get back up, to recover the ball and throw you out at second base? But if you're not thinking that way, if you're not up on your toes, if you're back on your heels, you're not going to make that play.
Now you're dealing in about 3.5 seconds.
Yeah. It's about the time that it should take you to get to second base. Well, it's 3-2 now to O'Brien, so I imagine Jeff Kent, who was running on that pitch, will run on this one.
Tim, I think I should correct myself. I don't believe the 2 expansion clubs in the National League participate in the revenues this year in the World Series. I believe
you're right. Yeah.
Those 2 clubs do not participate, but all the others do.
So it's spread among 26 teams, somewhere in the neighborhood of $15 million a team. Ken not running.
Got to figure he is running here in this situation if they had the hit and run on before. 3-2 count.
Now this is the time where you can't be aggressive. You have to be passive because it's up to the hitter to put it in play.
He can't get picked off here. He always say make sure he pitches home before you go.
There goes Kent. And O'Brien pops it up shallow center. Back is Blauser. In is Nixon, and Blauser makes the catch. One out here in the second inning, and Jeremy Burnitz will be coming up. Jeremy from Conroe, Texas.
Jeremy Burnitz.
No orange bat tonight. He is slowly making a name for himself as quite a character. Matter of fact, in this week's edition of Mets Inside Pitch, some rather lucid comments, albeit strange answers, from Jeremy Burnitz.
He reminds me so much of Andy Van Slyke in his approach to the game of baseball, which is very good.
Andy, a very funny guy with some great answers to questions. And Burnitz, after you hear these, you may be amused. It's 2-0 to Jeremy Neal Burnitz. When asked, what do you enjoy most about playing in New York, he answered, the exploration of a new planet.
He's got Andy Van Slyke, yeah.
Outside corner, 2-1.
All he has to do now is to take over the weather. Andy Van Slyke became a weatherman in Pittsburgh. Did the weather on TV.
Now he says that his hobbies are juggling and target diving. Outside, ball 3, 3-1. When asked his favorite food, you know what he said? Skittles. His favorite sport? Curling.
How about that?
Don't know whether these answers were a put on or whether he really believes that. maybe both. Check swing back to Glavine. He'll have to go to first with Kent running on the play. So Burnett's trying to get out of the way of the ball. It hit his bat. There are 2 outs.
Shortstop number 23, Tim Bogart.
In a situation when you had a 3-1 count and the runner going, and Burnett's trying to keep off that ball, got a piece of it, and grounds out. Mets do get a runner in scoring position.
Tim Bogart now the batter. You can see that ball hit the bat instead of the bat hitting the ball. So Burnett's is out of there. And Bogart takes outside. Jeremy, when asked how the majors has changed him, he said he gets better haircuts now.
He couldn't prove it by that.
No. If that's a better haircut, what was he getting in Norfolk? Oh, boy. Outside and low, ball 2, 2-0.
That's like the one that Musial threw at me at the Hall of Fame ceremony. He says, I'm going to beat that guy up. I said, what guy? He says, the guy that gave you your last haircut.
Line drive, base hit left field. Kent will try to score. Kent with a strong arm, safe at home. Good running by Kent, poor running by Bogart. He should be on second base, but the Mets take a lead, 1-0.
And here again, the National League champions, bad execution. Terrible throw by Gant, all the way in the fly over the head of the cutoff man by a good margin, and too high for the catcher to even make a play. You see the very high throw and over the head of the catcher. Gavin doing good execution, backing up the play. But you're right, Bogart should have been at second.
Once you see that ball go over the cutoff man's head, you should go to second as Hillman rips one to right center, but Justice playing him perfectly for the third out. The Mets are on the board. It's 1-0 New York after 2. We're back after this from Anheuser-Busch. This copyrighted telecast is authorized under television rights granted by Sterling Doubleday Enterprises, LP, solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Sterling Doubleday Enterprises, LP, and WWOR-TV is prohibited. Any commercial or other use of the program, such as by charging admission for its showing, likewise prohibited. Otis Nixon, the batter. High chopper to Kent, 1 out. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the third inning. The Mets on top, 1-0, and that's because Jeff Kent scored the run on an RBI single by Tim Bogart. Jeff Blauser singled his first at bat. As a matter of fact, the Braves with a golden opportunity to score in the first inning. Nixon walked, Blauser singled, and with runners on at first and second and nobody out, a 3-1 count on Ron Gant. Hillman's fastball was low. The runners running with the pitch, and Nixon was a dead duck at third base. Blauser attempting to bunt, bunts it foul, 0-2. Then Gant walked, and after a fielder's choice by Fred McGriff, Terry Pendleton grounded to first to end the inning. No balls, 2 strikes to Jeff Blauser. Inside, ball 1. Fly ball, right field, charging hard as Burnett's, 2 outs.
Wowzer's really quite a character. He said he got 6 write-in votes for the All-Star team. He says 5 of them spelled his name wrong. He said the only one who spelled his name right was himself.
Voted for himself.
Fair enough.
Ron Gant, the batter. 0-1 to Gant, who walked his first time up. Ronnie from Victoria, Texas. That's the same hometown as Doug Drabeck. Nothing in 2.
He has some pretty good stats going for him again. 30-30 man 2 years in a row. Had a chance to be the first to do it 3 consecutive seasons, but didn't do it last year.
Now, last year he became consumed with the home run ball. Pulling off of everything. Outside and high, 2-2. You may remember that he had never had a Grand Slam home run in his career, but in postseason play, he hit one against Bob Walk on a 2-0 pitch in Game 2 of the NLCS. Ground ball to shortstop. Tim Bogar up with it, and Hillman has another strong inning as the Braves go in order. 1-0 Mets after 2.5. We'll be back after this from your Tri-State Acura dealer.
Fans tonight, Toyota salutes Ms. Tisha Scott of New York, New York for her work with young New Yorkers and hands-on team volunteer projects to help people in need. For her work, Ms. Scott was our guest at Shea Stadium and had a chance to meet with Anthony Young before the game.
Who is also a young New Yorker. Ryan Thompson leads it off here in the 3rd inning. 1-0 Mets. And the fastball is low to Ryan. Curve is low. 2 balls and no strikes as Bobby Bonilla sits out tonight with that bandaged left thumb. Bobby tried to play through it on Sunday, but he was pinch hit for by Jeff McKnight in the 9th inning. That's a good cut at a bad pitch. 2-1 now to Thompson. Way outside, 3-1. So Glavine walks his first batter. And Thompson's on at first base with walk number 1 and Jeff McKnight coming up. The Mets have their leadoff runner on in the 2nd. Jeff Kent singled, and then he came around to score on a 2-out single by Tim Bogar. Jeff McKnight singled up the middle in the 1st inning, and that's really how you have to hit Tommy Glavine. You cannot approach him trying to pull the ball. Try to reason it out. You know, a hitter takes a batting stance where the fat part of the bat is on the fat part of the plate. If you try to pull a pitch low and away, where do you hit it? You hit it on the end of the bat. There goes Thompson. He stops now. The throw back to first, not in time. Thompson appeared to have a good jump. He stopped quickly and came back.
He did get off that bag. Well, here it is. Now he decides maybe I didn't get the sign or something like that. Gets back in ahead of the attack. Good call by Phil Cousy. Where's that stop? Berryhill's throw is a good throw, but Thompson able to scamper back.
Low ball 2, 2-0. If you try to hit the ball up the middle on a pitch away, you go into the ball bringing the fat part of the bat with you. So that's what a hitter always tries to do, is make contact hard. The pitcher and the catcher, on the other hand, try to keep it off the fat part of the bat. That's simplistically put, but that in essence is what all that action is around home plate. Leo Mazzoni, the pitching coach, out to talk to Tommy Glavine.
Well, that looked like a Knute Rockne pep talk right there. He was animated.
Probably telling Tommy he's trying to be too fine and make too good of pitches. Two balls, no strikes to Jeff McKnight. There goes the runner, and the hit and run executed beautifully by McKnight and Thompson, and the Mets with runners on the corners and nobody out. Wow.
First baseman, Eddie Murray.
Well, you get behind the count and you can do these types of plays. Runner going with the pitch. McKnight, an excellent job of hitting behind the runner. No chance for Justice, who has a very powerful arm, to throw the runner out at third. So the Mets now first and 30 with nobody out.
And Eddie Murray, the batter. Infield is back for the Braves in a one-run game here in the third inning. At the knees, strike one. 0-1 to Eddie Murray, who struck out his first time up.
He had a lot of trouble with those off-speed pitches low and outside his first time up. Murray's the type of hitter that will adjust. You can't stay one way with him. He's too good.
Just past Ernie Banks to move into the 18th spot in career RBIs with 1,637. Chance for another one here. But it's 0-2 to Eddie Murray. Ground ball toward third. Pendleton to Lemke to McGriff. Thompson scores. No RBI for Murray. Mets lead it 2-0.
Fielder Dave Gallagher.
Well, Murray gets the job done in a way, in a manner of speaking. He hits into the double play. He leads the National League in hitting into double plays. That's the 21st time he's done that. But the Mets do get a run, so they take that two-run lead.
National League record is 30 double plays in a season, grounded into by Ernie Lombardi. Here's Dave Gallagher. He takes ball one after taking a strike, 1-1. Let's take a look at the Macy's National League scoreboard. The only game completed this afternoon.
Montreal and Philadelphia tied, no score. In Florida, tie game there. In Houston at San Diego later. Colorado against the Dodgers later. Rockies have won 2 in a row after they had lost 13 straight games.
Ball and 2 strikes to Dave Gallagher, and the fastball misses. 2-2. Week from this weekend, the Mets will be in Rocky Mountain High country to play the Colorado Rockies. Still 2-2 to Gallagher.
Double dip from a game that was snowed out earlier this year.
Still 2-2. Issued foul. Will do it again. But Gallagher's fouled off 3 pitches. The Mets have 4 hits. Atlanta 3. And it's a 2-0 Met lead. Turning point so far was that first inning where the Atlanta Braves, with 2 on and nobody out, failed to score. High, ball 3, 3-2. Ball 4. That's the second walk in the inning and of the game for Tom Glavine, trying to win his 14th game of the year against 4 losses. And the Braves have responded well offensively. The Braves scoring over 5 runs a game on average for Tommy Glavine. Bobby Cox. There is some talk about Bobby having the option of being operated on after the season and having 2 artificial knees put in. He is mulling that over. Obviously a very serious decision. Bobby, his knee problems forcing him out of professional baseball as a player, and he has become a fine executive and manager.
Started his career with the Dodgers as an infielder. He has trouble walking. He really does limp.
Way outside, 2-0 now to Jeff Kent, who singled and scored one of the 2 Met runs in the second inning. All of Kent's home runs this year, remarkably, have come against right-handed pitching. Wow. We're going to have to revise that had he made better contact.
Boy, he had a good swing at that one.
Yeah.
He's close to the all-time record for Mets second baseman. Jeffries had 15 home runs. Kent has 13. And Jeffries has the most RBIs of any Mets second baseman. And Kent on his way to catching him in that department. 51-63.
Gallagher a threat to run, even though he has 1 stolen base. Primarily that's due to lack of playing time for Dave. Good base runner. 2 balls and a strike to Jeff Kent. Hit hard but foul. 2-2. See, that's what you like. You like your uniform dirty on your second at bat. He's got mud on his left knee down to his ankle. He's got mud on his the left side of his rear end. Players love dirty uniforms. That means you've done something. Glavine gets Kent, and that's strikeout number 3 for Tommy, but the Mets played another one. They strand 1 and lead 2-0 after 3. We're back after this from Chemical. Top of the 4th inning, 2-0. Mets on top. 4 hits for New York, 3 for the Braves. In to call it for you, Ralph Kiner.
Okay, Tim, and Fred McGriff will lead it off. Our American Express financial update: the Dow Jones off 3.35, S&P is down 86, and gold is down 240. Silver is up 4 cents. American Express financial update, and updating this game: Mets leading 2-0. McGriff against Eric Hillman, and Hillman's fastball a strike. McGriff, since joining the Braves, coming into this game, hitting .370 with 7 home runs, 15 runs batted in. And that pitch, a ball, 1-1. McGriff overall hitting .293 with 25 home runs, 61 runs batted in. And a high fly ball out to left field. Easy play for Gallagher. McGriff now 0 for 2. He had grounded into a force play his first time up. So Hillman, who got out of a jam in the first inning, And another in the second has settled in now, and he has retired 4 in a row. And his next batter will be Terry Pendleton, who saw one pitch his first time up and grounded out to the first baseman. And Pendleton takes for ball 1. Pendleton, originally with the St. Louis Cardinals, he joined the Braves. And his career just took off. MVP, 2 great years. This year, an off year. And there's a strike. Hitting .260 with 8 home runs. 48 runs batted in. 1991, hit .319 with 22 home runs, 86 RBIs, was the MVP in the National League. 1992, he hit .311 with 21 home runs, 105 runs batted in. One ball, 2 strikes to count.
On our Toyota American League scoreboard, the Red Sox over the Yankees 2-0 up at Fenway. Detroit over the red-hot Orioles, who have won 8 in a row. Minnesota at Toronto 1-1 in the 4th. Cleveland at Milwaukee, no score in the 2nd. 2-0. The White Sox over Oakland. That game in the 1st inning. And Seattle and Kansas City just underway. California, Texas. Nolan Ryan going for Texas tonight.
Ground ball to Bogar, and it's so to first base for the out as Pendleton rounds out for the 2nd time.
Right fielder
Got to
David
bring up
Justice.
Dave Justice. In all likelihood, the Atlanta Braves will have 3 players that will hit 30 home runs. It's almost a foregone conclusion with Gant with 27, McGriff with 25, and Justice with 26. Only one time in the history of baseball did 4 players hit 30 or more home runs, and that was with the Dodgers. And the pitch, a called strike to Justice.
78, right? 77 or
somewhere.
78.
Yeah. See if we can name him. Reggie Smith, the manager Dusty Baker of the Giants, Steve Garvey,
Ron Say.
and Ron Say. Only one time in baseball history have 3 players hit 40 or more home runs in a single season for the same ball club, and that's the Atlanta Braves. And those players were Hank Aaron, Davy Johnson. Who was the 3rd?
Darrell Evans.
Darrell Evans. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and the ground ball foul. That year, Davy Johnson, who managed the Mets later on, hit more home runs than Hank Aaron. And technically hit more home runs than any second baseman. Davy had 43. Rogers Hornsby, as a second baseman, had 42. I think one of Davy Johnson's home runs was hit as a pinch hitter. And a swing and a miss. So Justice has no justice as he is struck out. And the score at the end of 3.5 innings. The Mets 2 and the Braves nothing. And here's a word from Nobody Beats the Wiz. This game is brought to you in part by Nobody Beats the Wiz Home Entertainment Centers. For everything in home electronics, music, and movies, nobody beats the Wiz. And by the New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages, no other book can match it, a Bell Atlantic company. Bottom of the 4th, Mets leading 2-0, and Charlie O'Brien will lead it off for the Mets against Tommy Glavine of the Atlanta Braves, and the first pitch fouled back out of play. O'Brien popped up to short his first time up. The ball caught in shallow center field. Against left-hand pitching this year, he's hitting .289. And a hard smash, but foul. And a good thing it was foul because Pendleton was guarding the line, playing him to pull, and he was right there to get it.
Well, a lot of times a shortstop will have a word sign for the 3rd baseman if it's a breaking ball. And if it's a breaking ball, 3rd baseman often will cheat toward the line because the breaking ball from a left-hander will be inside. That's why Pendleton was toward the line for Charlie O'Brien.
And still is, as the count is strike 2. And O'Brien fouls it back out of play.
Third baseman can't see the catcher's sign, but the middle infielders can. So the shortstop works with the third baseman on breaking balls, and the same thing the second baseman will work with the first baseman with a left-handed hitter up there.
Again, Glavine with a 2-strike pitch, and he tries it outside, 1-2. Mets have had their problems with left-handed starters this year. They've won 8 times and lost 27 to left-handed starting pitchers, and the count stays at 1 ball and 2 strikes on that foul ball. Glavine coming into the game with a record of 13-4. Tied for 10th in the National League in earned run average, tied for 3rd in wins. And this ball hit the right center. Justice a quick jump, and he's right there for the play. So O'Brien is out, and that'll bring up Jeremy Burnett. Glavine also 6th in percentage, winning percentage in the National League, and he's tied for 1st in shutouts. He's had 2. And Burnett takes the fastball. Burnett's played a part for the Mets' run in the second inning on a 3-1 pitch. Tried to hold up on a high inside fastball, and the runner going on the pitch, it was Jeff Kent, and he got the second when O'Brien was thrown out on a check swing bouncer back to the pitcher. That set it up for Bogart to single in the Mets' first run.
He played a part, but he had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, he didn't. As you pointed it out perfectly, the bat didn't hit the ball hit the bat. He was trying to bail out, hit the bat, and got on the ground back to the pitcher. This one hit to the second base side, and a good play on that thing by Lemke, as that ball must have knuckled out there, and he had to come back and make the catch on the line drive.
Mark, after making the catch, and that ball was scalded. It's a low liner, caught around the knees, and after making the catch, he was in doubt as to whether an umpire called it or not, because he goes down there, he says he has it, and now he sees nobody calling it, and he's thinking, whoop, should I throw? What should I do? Is it a catch? What's going on?
Say something out there.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Yeah.
1 ball, no strikes to Bogart, who singled in a run in the second. Bogart's 21st RBI of the year. And 2-0. Bogart batting in that tough 8th position in the batting order. And 3-0, and Glavine falls behind. He has walked 2, both of the walks coming in the third, and one of them scoring. Thompson led off the third with a walk. Went to third base in a hit-and-run play and scored when Eddie Murray hit into his 21st double play. And there's Glavine's third walk, and that clears the pitcher, and that's something that the managers like to see. That brings up Hillman, and he will not lead off the next inning because of that walk. That is, unless Bogart gets picked off at first. Hillman flied out to fairly deep right center his first time up. 4 hits and 23 at-bats this year. He puts a pretty good move on it when he swings the bat.
It's a 3-game hitting streak.
For a guy 6'10", in the biggest strike zone in the National League, or in baseball, as a matter of fact. Major League Baseball. He gets some pretty good swings. 1 ball, no strikes. And he puts a good swing on that and gets a base hit. Bogart on his way to third, and the throw is cut off at short. And Hillman has his 5th hit of the year.
Right out to deep right center his first time up against a tough left-hander, Tommy Glavine.
So the Mets with runners at first and third and 2 men out, and the batter will be Ryan Thompson, who has walked and scored. He also has flied to left. Eric Hillman with his 5th hit of the year. He is now 5 for 24. Bobby Cox, the manager of the Braves. Mets leading 2-0. And Thompson takes for ball 1. Giants won today, so the Braves have to win to stay within 9 games of the leading San Francisco Giants. Best team in record, National League West, best team of any team in Major League Ball. And the count now 1-1 on that miss. Mets since the All-Star break have won 12 and lost 12, so they're playing 500 baseball after their horrendous start. Right on the inside corner, strike 2, 1-2. You're watching Mets baseball 93 on WWR TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. Ralph Kiner along with Tim McCarver coming your way. Hope you're enjoying the ball game.
There's Barbie and Ken. It's not us, Ralph. You have to make it continue that disclaimer.
Tim Flannery, huh?
Yeah, he and his wife were known as Barbie and Ken.
Yeah.
Something to that.
Something to that effect.
Yeah.
He's managing now in the San Diego Padre organization. I think he's at Spokane. 2-2 to Thompson.
It's a rather terse way of handling Ken there. No respect.
2-2 now, and strike 3 call. So Thompson got looking, and that will end the inning. The Mets threaten and don't score, leaving runners at first and third, and the score at the end of 4. The Mets 2 and the Braves nothing. Here's a word from Budweiser. You know, there's only one thing better than a Mets win, and that's celebrating with an ice cold Budweiser, the king of beers. And the Mets winning as we go to the top of the 5th by a score of 2-0. It'll be Damon Berryhill to lead it off. He was struck out his first time up, and Hillman's first pitch swung on and missed. Berryhill hitting .240 with 5 home runs, 23 runs batted in.
Normally, Berryhill is the catcher for Greg Maddux. You may remember they were battering mates with the Cubs. And also Pete Smith. But now Pete Smith's out of the rotation.
And this one chopped to third. McKnight over to first for the quick out.
The only reason Berryhill in there tonight was because of an injury right before the game to Greg Olson, not believed to be serious.
And Maddux will pitch tomorrow night. Greg Maddux, that is, 12-9 in the year against Sid Fernandez, who is 1-2. Tickets available for that game. And also the Mets play Atlanta on Thursday night. It'll be Doc Gooden against John Smoltz. First pitch to Mark Lemke, a called strike. Lemke doubled for left field his first time up. Now he hits it up the middle. Bogar over back a second. Good play there. And 2 men away.
Next,
Tim Bogar has not made an error in 25 games. He ranges far to his left to get Mark Lemke. Nice play by Bogar.
And it will bring up the pitcher, Tom Glavine. Glavine with a base hit his first time up. Involved in a play which saw Atlanta lose a chance to have a run or so. And the first pitch is taken for ball one. Lemke had doubled, and Glavine singled left field after the double. Lemke rounded third and was held there. Glavine rounded first and went too far, and the Mets got him in a rundown. And then when Lemke broke for home, they switched and picked up Lemke in the rundown between home and third and got him out. And it's a 3-pitch strikeout. Third strikeout for Eric Hillman. A 1-2-3 inning. He's retired 9 in a row. And the score at the end of 4.5 innings, the Mets 2, the Braves nothing. And here's a word from your Tri-State Toyota dealer. Bottom half of the fifth, the Mets on top 2-0. And once again for the play-by-play, Tim McCarver.
All right, Ralph, thank you very much. 5 hits for the Mets. And Eric Hillman, after going through some problems in innings 1 and 2, has retired 9 Atlanta Braves in a row. This is the last series at Shea Stadium for these two teams this year. The Mets will play Atlanta 17th, 18th, and 19th of September in Atlanta. Jeff McKnight, in a rare start, has played a fine game. Errorless ball at third, and he's 2 for 2. That second single led to a run in the third inning. Mets scoring single runs in inning number 2 and 3. And Jeff fouls it back, 0-1 to Jeff McKnight.
Jeff has played all infield positions, first base, second base, shortstop, and third. He also has caught. Only positions he hasn't played in the major leagues. He has not pitched, and he has not played center field.
He caught this year on April 21st against the San Francisco Giants. He is a very, very hard worker. Matter of fact, I don't think any of the Mets work any harder at their jobs than Jeff McKnight. Pitch drilled to right center, and Justice is over to make the catch. So McKnight gives it a ride, but it came down in the glove of David Justice. 1 out here in the 5th inning. And Eddie Murray the batter. It's funny how, as far as working is concerned in the big leagues now, people refer to guys having good work habits. Murray pops it up. Blauser and Lemke. Blauser almost stepped over the bag, on the bag. He stepped over it and makes the catch. 2 outs.
Left fielder Dave Gallagher.
That saying is more or less came into vogue over the last 10 years. I don't remember it being a saying a decade ago, work habits. And the reason for that in baseball was that work had to be a habit because you're working on a 1-year contract. And if work wasn't your habit, you didn't have a job. You were out of a job habit.
You're looking for another line of work, huh?
But now with the long-term deals, and baseball has developed their own language because of the change in free agency. Now it's work habits. Outside. 3 balls and no strikes to Dave Gallagher.
There was a time in baseball when you never skipped batting practice, you never skipped infield practice, you never skipped outfield practice. Now it's a commonplace thing.
There's a strike, 3-1. Good change right there on a 3-1 count. It's 3-2 to Dave Gallagher, who is 0 for 1. He has struck out and walked.
This is a lot like the old days when you never skipped school. If you did, you had to have a note from your parents. And to skip all those things before, you had to have the manager's permission.
never missed a game here for the Mets since 1962. He's in a Florida hospital. Andres Hernandez, our regards to him, and we are hoping that his problems lessen and that he is better quickly. Here's the great Andy, high home cameraman from 1962 up until a couple of weeks ago, and he is ill in Florida, and our best wishes for a speedy recovery to Andy Hernandez.
Opening day 1962. It was the high home man.
Gallagher down on strikes. Strikeout number 5 for Glavine. We go to the 6th with the Mets on top. We're back after this from your Tri-State Ford dealer. Eric Kilman has a shutout going. He has thrown one shutout this year against the Dodgers. That's his only victory. And it's 2 balls and no strikes to Otis Nixon. Two and 1 to Otis. 2-0 Mets here in the 6th inning. Fly ball, right field line, and it's going to be foul. 2-2 now to Otis Nixon. Nixon walked in the 1st inning and grounded a second in the 3rd. All right, Bubba. A happy guy.
Did you ever wear your hat backwards other than when you were catching?
No. I had no reason to. That's fashionable nowadays, however. Line drive up the middle, in is Thompson. Off his leg. Nixon's going to stop at first base. So Otis Nixon with the 4th Atlanta hit leads off the 6th inning.
Well, Hillman had retired 9 in a row before this base hit. Fastball hit sharply to center. Thompson got too close to it and had to make a hustling pickup to hold Nixon at first base. So Nixon twice has led off an inning with the ability to get on base. A walk the first time, a single here in the 6th.
Jeff Blauser's 1 for 2 on the night. Outside, ball 1. And Charlie O'Brien wants to talk to Hillman. Eric from Gary, Indiana. It's where he was born. He was raised in Castle Heights, California.
He's a ball player that likes the history of baseball. I was talking about Jimmy Reese, who at one time roomed with Babe Ruth when he played for the Yankees. Jimmy, an infielder, and now part-time coach for the California Angels.
Outside to Blauser, 2-0.
And Jimmy, one of the great people in this game. Long-time minor league player and then minor league coach, and also managed in the minor leagues. In fact, he's so well respected that Nolan Ryan named one of his boys after Jimmy Reese, called him Reese Ryan. And Hillman very interested in making contact with Jimmy to find out some of the history of baseball back in the 20s when Jimmy played in the major leagues with the Yankees.
Ground ball, foul. About 2 feet. I said Castle Heights. Hillman actually grew up in Citrus Heights, California. Selected in the 16th round by the Mets. He is not a hard thrower. He relies on keeping a ball down, and think of the difficulty with a pitch of that caliber when you're 6'10". You have to keep the ball down to be effective. If you're a guy like Randy Johnson, the other pitcher in the big leagues, that is 6'10", he throws for Seattle. He throws a cross-seam fastball and can keep the ball up to be effective. But Hillman has a tough time with that pitch right there, and that's because of his stature. 3-1 to Blauser.
When he had that 6'10" to the foot that the mound is above the playing surface, he's coming at you from a pretty high angle.
It's like throwing it around the knees from the first floor. 60 feet 6 inches away.
There haven't been too many tall pitchers, and I mean that tall, say 6'6" on up, that have been very effective.
Ground ball, third base. McKnight to Kent, safe at second. Kent made a fine play to come up with the ball, but the throw by McKnight pulls him off the bag. Probably an error on Jeff McKnight. Braves now with 2 on and nobody out.
Brian Gorman, the second base umpire, said he wasn't on the bag. They were in such a hurry to get the double play that the throw is not a good one. Kent looked like he dragged that foot across the bag to make the catch.
Yeah, he did on that replay.
But the umpire said, no, let's look at it again. He came right across with his foot. Might have been inside of the bag.
Might have been in front of it. Yeah, that's what Brian Gorman. That replay did not look like he touched the bag. Well, now the tough Ron Gant, the batter, and it's outside, ball 1. The Mets could have had a double play on a good throw by McKnight, but his throw pulling Kent off the bag. And Atlanta with a break. It's a ball and no strikes to Ron Gant, who is 0 for 1. Ball 2, 2-0. Jerry Crawford wants to look at the ball. We're in the 6th, 2-0 Mets.
Little things like this, well, actually not little, because that should have been a double play. Would have been a good one, but it should have been. And instead of nobody on and 2 out, you have 2 men on and nobody out. And the heart of the batting order coming up.
Gant with 27 homers on the year.
14 of his 27 home runs have given the Braves either the lead or have won games.
He had a fastball to hit, fouls it back. 2 balls and a strike to Ron Gant, who shakes his head in dismay. Change foul back. 2-2 now. Look at Gant, exasperated.
It's a sign of a competent hitter right there. He's really unhappy he missed those last 2.
Two to Ron Gant. Looks like a backdoor breaking ball, and Gant smashes his bat down. Rarely do you see Ronnie show that kind of emotion. What a big strikeout for Eric Hillman. 1 away.
His 4th strikeout. He goes to the curveball here, and it was actually kind of a downer rather than coming back in. Most left-handers' curveball comes back in over the plate. The ball just sort of stayed on the same plane. Straight down. Could be a big strikeout.
We shall see as Fred McGriff comes up. I think Ron as miffed about that 2-0-2-1 pitch as he was about to strike out. McGriff with a pitch to hit, but he fouls it back.
The pressure's really on the Braves. They trail by 9.5 games with the Giants winning, and they're at the point where they've got to just start gaining some ground on the Giants.
Giants winning this afternoon over Cincinnati 2-1. 0-1 to Fred McGriff. 2-0 Mets here in the 6th. 2 on, 1 out. Corner. 0-2.
Well, this ball is just letter perfect.
Wasn't it? Hillman a little overly concerned with Nixon. Nixon's not going to be running with McGriff up there.
Certainly wouldn't think so.
If he does, he's taking a chance not too many guys would take. Especially with O'Brien and the way Charlie's been throwing. Ground ball, foul. Looked like he hit it right off the end. Chalk it up, as the players say.
They got enough of it to stay alive. Another good pitch.
Hit hard. Nice play. Kent to second base. Bogart tries to go to first. Looked like Jeff Blauser went out of the baselines, and here comes Dallas Green.
They ought to argue this one. He went way out of the baseline to break up that double play, and they can call that a double play.
You got to be able to touch the bag if you're the base runner. And Dallas, I think, has a good argument. We'll see if Jeff Blauser doing his job and doing a good job, but it appeared he went out of the baseline to get Tim Bogart.
You got to be able to reach second. You can go out to get him, but you got to be able to touch the bag. And you got to say he did. Yeah, that's a good job.
Yep, good call by Brian Gorman.
Sure was. Good job by Kent to get that hard smash. They did get the force out at second base.
I think when Blauser went the way he finished so far off the bag. I think Dallas, like us, thought that he perhaps was too far out of the baseline. It's a strike to Terry Pendleton. 2 on, 1st and 3rd, 2 outs, and 2-0 Mets. Fouled away, 0-2. Hillman doing a good job staying ahead of the Braves batters. John Eric Hillman on the mound. Breaking ball, chopped towards second. Kent will try to field the ball, and interference has been called on Fred McGriff. Bobby Cox is going to argue this call. Fred McGriff is out on interference, and here comes Bobby Cox. We'll see how that argument develops after this from MetLife. Mets on top, 2-0.
Well, this play is a very interesting play. The fielder has the right to field the ball. Here comes McGriff, the ball arriving about the same time. McGriff tries to get out of the way, blocking the view of Kent. He didn't touch Kent, but he obstructed the view. There's no doubt about it. Now, if he'd have gone behind Kent, which he didn't do, it would have been no interference at all. But Brian Gorman, the umpire, said he did interfere with the play and obviously blocked the view of the ball, so Kent couldn't come up with it cleanly.
There are a lot of times, however, you block the view of a fielder by running between the ball and the fielder. But because of the close proximity of the ball to Kent at the time he went in front of him, I guess that's why interference was called. But you're right, had he made the same move behind him, that's no problem. Fielder, as everyone knows, does have the right-of-way until he has the ball in his grasp. And the fielder was Jeff Kent, and it's 1-1 to Jeff Kent with the Mets on top here in the 6th inning. It was an interesting play and a tough call for Brian Gorman. Hopped up, McGriff can't get to it. Look at this. All right. Oh, you got to let her have it now. All right, guys, thanks. All right. That's just, what a great, look at this. Look at this. All right. She was not about to let that ball roll in the dugout.
The play of the game right here.
Might be our Budweiser play of the game. Looked like she knocked over a Budweiser getting to the ball.
Got to give her the Budweiser play of the game.
Another sparkling play by the faithful gathered here tonight. Oh, that's great. All right. Baseball, a game of instant reactions, and that was an example of that. 2-2 now to Jeff Kent. Oh, good changeup.
Sixth strikeout by Glavine in this game, and the second time that he has got Kent on the same pitch, after Kent had singled and scored back in the second.
That play, by the way, has scored a putout for Jeff Kent. That play on which Fred McGriff interfered. Charlie O'Brien, the batter, he's 0 for 2. He's popped to short, flied to right. 2-0 Mets here in the 6th. Good ball game, and the curve in for a strike. One and one. The Mets hit the road for 10 games, make that 9 games. They play 3 in Philadelphia, 3 in Cincinnati, and 3 in Colorado before returning to Shea 13 days from now. 2 balls and a strike to Charlie O'Brien. Right on the corner, 2-2. Up, Barry Hill can't get to it. Still 2-2 to Charlie O'Brien in Philadelphia. Our next telecast will be coming to you on Friday night. We'll be on the air at 7:30. Then a Saturday night game, and then we're on the air at 1:30 on Sunday afternoon. First place Phillies will play the Mets. Low, ball 3, 3-2. The Phillies, by the way, beating Montreal tonight 5-1. Curt Schilling going for the Phils. And the Cardinals, who entered tonight's action 6 back, are tied at 2 in Pittsburgh. base hit up the middle as O'Brien breaks his back. So Charlie O'Brien with hit number 6 for the Mets on the night. And Jeremy Burnett's coming up.
AT&T, the best in the business, salutes Christy Mathewson, the best in the game. He holds the National League record for the most years winning 20 or more games 12 times. AT&T salutes Christy Mathewson. A good book on Christy Mathewson, written by Ray Robinson. Tim McCarver did one of the critiques on it. Excellent book if you want to learn about the old Giants back in the turn of the century.
An American hero, it's called. Matty, an American hero, as Jeremy Burnett takes a fastball that's high. Ball 1 to Jeremy. He is 0 for 2 on the night. Foul. He had the bat head out on that one. The players say that. Throw the bat head out. And that's what Burnett did on that one.
He has great bat speed and very strong power. See that extension right there, and he really does get all of this one. But his timing just a shade too early, and he's charged with a strike.
1-1 to Burnett. While McGriff is even holding O'Brien on. Charlie with his first major league stolen base this year.
Took him a while to get it.
Strike 2 to Burnett. Ball and 2 strikes.
Stole that base against Joe Oliver, the Cincinnati Reds. It came in his 342nd game in the majors.
He reaches out and pokes one to left. In is Ginn, and back is Blauser. My gosh, open the gate for Jeff Blauser. You won't see a shortstop go any farther than Blauser went. 2 outs.
It goes a long way. There's no doubt about it. It's high enough that it's an easy play for Gant. Doing some sprints right there.
So Jeremy Burnett is 0 for 3 on the night. And Tim Bogar, the batter. Tim driving in his 21st run in the 2nd inning with an RBI single. It's 2-0 New York, and the fastball is high, ball 1. Jeff swing and a miss. 1-1 now to Bogar. High, ball 2, 2-1. Balls, 2 strikes now to Bogar. With Charlie O'Brien at first base, a 2-0 Met lead here in the 6th inning, 2 outs. Inside and low, ball 3. So Bogar with 3 at-bats against a tough pitcher, Tommy Glavine. Tim 1 for 1 on the night with a walk. It's 3-2, and O'Brien will be off the pitch. Looks like a circle change right here. Nope, he got the fastball. Clangs next to us, right above the box of the owner of the Mets, one of the two, Fred Wilpon. Everybody appears to be all right. There's that circle change that Glavine uses. And that's what Bogart gets. Lifted to center and tracked down by Nixon. Still 2-0 New York. We go to the 7th after this from American Express. It's 2-0 Mets over the Braves here in the 7th inning. And tomorrow night, about this time, there will be a meteor shower, we understand. They call it, I think it's P-E-U-R-S-E-E-I-D, pronounced Perseid, after the star Perseus. So about this time tomorrow night, we'll be seeing meteors. There haven't been any meteors hit in this game tonight. Been a lot of singles, but the Mets are on top 2-0 here in the top of the 7th. Back in to call it for you. Here's Ralph.
Just a comet or two, no meteors. And the first pitch to David Justice, a breaking ball for ball 1. Justice in this game is 0 for 2. He has fouled out and struck out. He's been hot in his last 18 games, hitting .403. Rounds this one in the hole. It's cut off by Kent. Hillman covering at first is there in time. Good play. 1 away.
It's been rather difficult for Eric Hillman to kind of get unraveled and cover first base. That long, lanky frame of his falling toward third, and by the time he recoups, it's tough for him to cover. You know, that's one of the problems, probably the only problem Steve Carlton had covering first base. Was poor at that because his follow-through came so much toward the third base side.
And your other guy that you caught that was a great pitcher, Gibson, he used to fall way over to first base.
Yeah, but he could really pick it. He could pick it, though.
He really came off that mound.
Yeah.
1 strike to count to Damon Berryhill, who is 0 for 2, and that is strike 2. Berryhill, a last-minute change or substitution. Greg Olson was in the starting lineup, and he was taken out because of a minor ailment. Berryhill put into the ball game, and that ball just missing. 1-2. Hillman at Tidewater this year, 6-2 before coming up with the Mets. And that one, a shade outside, 2-2. As Tim pointed out, Hillman's only win this year was a complete game shutout, a 4-0 win over the Dodgers. Gave up 5 hits, struck out 5. His career high in strikeouts 5. He has 4 in this game. And he misses again with the fastball, and that fills it out. And he walks. Hillman walks Berryhill. 3rd walk in the game. He had averaged only 1.5 walks per game in his career, and that will bring up Mark Lemke. Lemke with a double, and also was out in a good play by the shortstop Bogart. So he's made good contact the 2 times he has been up. Came into the game hitting .272, a career high in home runs with 7. And now it hits us one deep to left field. It's back, but to the warning track. And Gallagher makes the play, hustles it back in. And Lemke a long out. Dave Gallagher. Oh, the right procedure right there. When you catch a ball back there and you don't know for sure where that runner is that's on base, you got to back in as fast as you can. Did just that. And that'll bring up a pinch hitter, Francisco Cabrera. Francisco Cabrera is the pinch hitter, hitting .274. He has 4 home runs, 11 runs batted in. The hero in the playoff games and the World Series. He's done a good job pinch hitting and hits that ball hard. He's had 9 pinch hits in 41 at-bats. Club leader in pinch hits with 1 home run, 6 runs batted in. Ground ball to the shortstop, Bogart. Goes to Kent, covering with a perfect throw, and that retires the side. So 1 left on the walk and the score at the end of 6.5 innings. The Mets 2, the Braves nothing. And here's a word from Nobody Beats the West.
2-0 Mets here in the bottom of the 7th, and a new pitcher, Steve Bedrosian, 1-2 on the year, his 33rd appearance, and a great story in that Steve laid out all of last year. He went back to his farm right around the Atlanta area and came back this year to pitch. As a matter of fact, he had numbness in his forefinger of his right hand, and it was thought that that numbness came from the use of smokeless tobacco. The feeling came back in that forefinger, and here he is pitching and doing very well.
33rd game for Atlanta after missing all of last year. Former Cy Young Award winner and the hard-throwing right-hander still throws hard. And that's strike 2 as he works to Eric Hillman, who has a base hit and 2 at-bats. The fastball fouled off. Back in 1987 with Philadelphia, he won the Cy Young Award. He led the National League pitchers in saves. Had 40 saves that year. Got his first Major League save against the Mets in 1982. And he struck out. Hillman, 1 away. Tom Glavine working the first 6. Gave up 2 runs. Allowed 6 hits, struck out 6, and walked 3. And now Bedrosian working, and he'll be working to Ryan Thompson.
We mentioned earlier that the Braves usually score when Tommy Glavine pitches, and tonight an exception. Tommy pitched very well for 6 innings, but the Braves came up scoreless due to the fine effort by Eric Hillman.
One strike to count to Thompson, who is 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. And the breaking ball for ball 1, 1 ball and 1 strike. Bedrosian originally selected by the Braves in the 3rd round of the June 1978 draft, so he's been around a while. And now back with the Braves. Had that Cy Young Award year with Philadelphia. Two balls, 1 strike to Thompson. And again, he goes to the breaking ball, 2-2. In the minor leagues, Bedrosian was a starting pitcher.
That's a nasty slider he just threw Thompson.
And the foul ball keeps the count at 2-2. Bedrosian with 184 career saves, and that pitch again fouled off, so the count stays at 2-2. He has won 71 games in his major league career, and he has lost 75 with 184 saves in 11 years. This is 12th year. Goes back to the breaking ball and misses. It's 3-2. And he's coming at Thompson with some pretty hard stuff. And again, the breaking ball, and again, it's fouled away. Braves playing Thompson as an opposite field hitter, and he pulls it to left field for a base hit. So Thompson continues his fine hitting for the Mets since his recall. This is his 14th game start. That'll bring up Jeff McKnight, who's 2 for 3, and the one time they got him out, it was on a fine catch by Dave Justice, the right fielder.
Our Macy's National League scoreboard shows the Giants over Cincinnati. That's a final. Philadelphia over Montreal. Chicago over Florida 2-0 in the 8th. St. Louis 2-2 in the 8th inning at Three Rivers. Houston at San Diego. Colorado at Los Angeles later on.
Thompson drawing the throw at first base. And another one over there. McKnight, since the All-Star break, has had 10 base hits in his last 22 at-bats. So he has done well in limited action. Fouls off the fastball. And Braves have met 6 times this year. The Braves have won 4 of the 6 games played. 3 more here and 3 more in Atlanta for the season. And again, Thompson draws a throw. He's had 1 stolen base in 5 attempts. Mets with only 69 stolen bases and 108 attempts. They're not really a running ball club. Thompson fakes, and the ball is dropped by Berryhill in this haste, but Thompson had already stopped. Second time that Thompson has made a fake break.
Well, it's to get a catcher to do exactly what he got him to do. Watch how Berryhill kind of glances toward Thompson, comes up out of the chute. Even Bedrosian was ducking, thinking there could be a play. Thompson looks too nonchalant now. Looks like he's running.
And he draws another throw. Braves have had all kinds of trouble throwing base runners attempting to steal out. They have really struggled in that department. So they're a little bit nervous back at the plate. Bleeder into left center field. It'll drop in for a base hit. So McKnight with his 3rd hit of the game. Thompson the second base and holding there. And the Mets now have runners at first and second with 1 man out, and Eddie Murray coming up.
Jeff with that look on his face like he doesn't want that hit. Don't be too proud, Jeff. That slider inside, a little looper over the shortstop's head. Makes up for those times that you hit him hard at somebody, like he did his 3rd time up tonight.
He hit that ball well. It could have been extra bases, but Justice a good play on him. So McKnight with his 3rd hit of the ball game and playing 3rd base in place of Bobby Bonilla. And now Eddie Murray, who's had a tough night, and this one popped up. Murray had been 0 for 3, hitting into a double play. Blauser out to get it, and 2 men out.
A lot of people, Ralph, excuse me, they think that you have to, an infielder has to be on the infield for an infield fly rule to be in effect. That's not the case, as Blauser goes all the way back into shallow left field to make this catch, and third base umpire Steve Ripley signaling infield fly rule.
And that will bring up Dave Gallagher, who's going to be taken out for a pinch hitter. Is going to be Joe Orsulak, to bat with the right-hand pitcher in the game. Mets leading 2-0. Runners at first and second, 2 men out. They're batting in the bottom of the 7th inning. Orsulak for the year hitting .310 with 6 home runs, 25 runs batted in. The first pitch to Orsulak, a good pitch for a strike. Orsulak 8 for 23 as a pinch hitter with 4 runs batted in. And a fastball for a ball. 1-1 count to Orsulak. And the fastball fouled away. So Bedrosian in front with a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes.
He is bringing Ron Gant in. Jimmy Williams and Bobby Cox telling Ron Gant to move in because Orsulak, a defensive hitter, cuts down on his swing with 2 strikes. That's a good play. See Ron Gant looking in the dugout, but he's moved in about 4 steps in left field.
Thompson does have good speed at second, and they work on him again, this time at second base. Gets back safely.
I think the reason you're doing that is so no clunkers will fall in front of you. You know, one of the side effects is if it's hit hard, you will have a play on Thompson, but you want no cheap hits to the opposite field.
And Orsulak pulls it foul over the Mets dugout. Orsulak with a 2-strike count, a very strong defensive player. He really tries to work hard at making contact. Chokes up in the bat, as you can tell. Just trying to get some piece of that bat on the ball to put it in play. Good, solid ball player. He knows what he's capable of doing, and he tries to give himself every chance to do it. Originally signed with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And he puts it in play, but it's just a little pop-up in the center, and Nixon right there to make the play, and that retires the side. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left, and our Chevrolet Geo line score. It is the Mets 2 and the Atlanta Braves nothing. We'll return right after this message.
Do you know this number?
507 TIXX is the most convenient way to purchase Mets tickets. Now you can call the Mets ticket office directly to charge tickets by phone.
Thank you for calling the Mets ticket office.
Mets employees will assist you with exact seat selection for the games of your choice.
Now, with $15 box seats, we would have field level in 157E like Edward. If you'd like, I could check something a little higher up, see if we can bring you closer in. Okay, if you went to our loads level, the 2nd level, we would have seats in section 6, row G. That's right between home plate and third base.
MasterCard, Visa, and American Express are all accepted, and the per-ticket service charge has been reduced from prior years. So to charge Mets tickets by phone and for all Mets ticket, schedule, and stadium information, call the Mets at 718-507-TIXX during business hours.
You make the call.
Top of the 8th, the Mets leading 2-0, and Eric Hillman through the first 7 innings, giving up no runs on 4 hits while striking out 4. And he'll be working to the top of the batting order. Otis Nixon will lead it off. He's 1 for 2 in the game with a walk. So Nixon, as a leadoff batter, has been on 2 of the 3 times he has led off the inning. Mets guard against the possibility of a bunt for a base hit. Nixon, the leading base stealer for the Braves, and he tries to bunt and fouls it off. Earlier this year, Nixon and Sanders were vying for the regular playing time in center field. Sanders this year hitting .270 with 3 home runs, 22 runs batted in, and 19 stolen bases. Nixon hitting .228 with 25 stolen bases, 1 home run, 17 runs batted in. And the count now 1 ball and 1 strike. And he drives one to center field. Thompson hustling in, dives and makes the play. No, he did not make the play. Nixon rounds it back at first. He thought he was out. And now he goes back into first base. And it looked like Thompson had made a brilliant catch. Nixon thought he had got it. I thought he caught it. But it is not a catch at all. It is a base hit. So Nixon has led off again with a base hit.
I don't know if Ryan ever had control. The ball hit off the heel of the glove, and he smothered it. And Nixon with his 2nd straight hit.
So again, Nixon for the 3rd time in this game on base as a leadoff hitter in the inning. Thompson tried his best to corral that and couldn't, and that brings up Jeff Blauser. And he takes a called strike. Blauser 1 for 3, singled in the 1st. Thompson thought he should have had that play. It would have been a brilliant catch. He really got off to a quick start charging that ball and almost did pull it off. Well, Nixon chased back. Nixon had caught stealing back in the 1st inning. What probably is the biggest play of the game for the Mets in the 1st inning, with Braves a chance to take a big lead. There's a swing at the curveball, and that's strike 2. Nixon led off that 1st with a walk, and the 3-2 pitch was singled to 2nd by Blauser. And with a 3-1 count on Ron Gant, both runners were running, and Nixon was thrown out at 3rd, and a terrific play by O'Brien. After that, Gant walked to put runners at 1st and 2nd base. And McGriff rounded out, and so did Pendleton. And in that 1st inning, the Braves did not score. With 2 men out in the 2nd, they had runners at 1st and 3rd and did not score. Since then, they've been fairly quiet. Got a runner to 3rd and the 6th with 2 men out. There goes the runner. The throw by O'Brien is not on line. It hits Nixon and stays in the infield. So Nixon gets the stolen base, and that puts a runner in scoring position.
Well, O'Brien has no chance to get Otis Nixon before this stolen base. Charlie had thrown out 5 in a row and 9 of his last 16. X marks the spot as it hits Nixon right on the X.
So a runner at 2nd with no one out. 1 ball, 2 strike count, and the fastball blooped into right field is going to drop in. Bernards plays it on the hop, fires it into the cutoff man, holding Nixon at 3rd base, and now the tying runner's at 1st. And again, Hillman in trouble.
And Ron Gant has missed a couple of fastballs tonight. His last at bat, he struck out. He was miffed at that strikeout. And you wonder how long he is going to miss those pitches. He hadn't missed many this year. Burnitz can't get to it. Blauser has a single. Runners at the corners with no outs.
Mets set their infield back for the double play. They'll give up the run to get 2, and the batter Ron Gant steps in. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Blauser represents the time run at first base, and the first pitch to Gant hit out to right field. It'll be caught. Blauser going back to tag at first base as a run comes in from third, and Hillman loses his shutout, but the Mets do pick up an out.
Well, the odds of having Nixon not score with nobody out and Otis being at third base were remote, so the Mets do get the out, and the big thing is they keep Blauser at first. Burnett's properly going to second base as Nixon scores easily to get the Braves on the board.
And that will bring up Fred McGriff as the bullpen gets hot. A.Y. Young and Pete Shurik throwing in the bullpen. Anthony Young and Pete Shurik. Shurik the left-hander as McGriff steps up. McGriff 0 for 3 in the game. One man out, top of the 8th inning. The Mets leading 2-1 against the Braves. And the Giants winning their game 2-1 earlier today. And the first pitch to McGriff fouled back into the stands. McGriff at .291 with 25 home runs, 61 runs batted in. 7 of his home runs with the Braves and 15 of his RBIs. Blauser very short lead at first, and the pitch for ball 1, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Hillman has been staying away from McGriff all evening. Get a guy as hot as Fred McGriff has been, even though coming in he was only 2 for his last 14.
And he hits this one over the head of Eddie Murray, a base hit to right field. And on the play, Blauser goes to third. So now the tying run is at third base as McGriff gets his first hit. Alice Green goes out to the mound.
He tried to sidearm Fred McGriff with that curveball. And McGriff hits a high chopper over Murray at first base.
Batter coming up for Atlanta, Terry Pendleton.
I think Dallas is telling Hillman what to do on a ball hit back to him. If it's a slowly hit ball, to come home with the ball. If it's hit a one-hopper, go to second base, and Bogar will be covering. Here's that pitch to McGriff. You see Hillman dropping down a bit. McGriff, with that great plate coverage, just hops one over the head of Eddie Murray.
Mets have set up a double play depth as Pendleton steps in. Pendleton 0 for 3, and he gets a curveball, hits it in the hole. That'll tie up the ball game. McGriff to second base and holding there, and 4 hits in the inning, and the game tied at 2 as Pendleton gets a run batted in.
Pendleton hits it to the right side, and with Jeff Kent cheating at second base for the double play, no chance for Jeff to get to it, and the Braves' 4th hit in this inning.
Matching their 4 coming into the inning, and it's a tie ball game at 2 with Dave Justice at the plate. And he rips it to right. It could be playable and will be. Burnett's over to make the catch. McGriff tags up at second and crosses the third, but the Mets get a hard out. So it has been a tough inning for the Mets and Eric Hillman, but now 2 men away, and the batter scheduled up, Damon Berryhill. Justice lining out to right field now, 0 for 4. Berryhill coming up is 0 for 2 with a walk. Covey's pulling the outfield in a bit. Runners at first and third, and the pitch to the plate, ball strike. Hillman back at a ground ball to third base, off the glove of McKnight, and the Braves take the lead on the air, 3-2. So McKnight, who had a fine night at third base and at the plate, makes the error that gives up the go-ahead run, and the Braves take the lead.
Now a rare start for Jeff McKnight, his second error of the night, and you're right, Ralph, it overshadows his fine offensive performance. He came up on the ball stayed down, and the Braves take the lead.
And now the batter, the eighth man to bat in the inning, will be Mark Lemke, and he pops it up in foul territory. Murray over to get in place to make the catch, and that retires the side. But one unearned run and 3 in the inning, and the Braves take the lead by a score of 3-2. Now here's a word from Budweiser.
Harry Kilman, here in the bottom of the 8th inning, deserves a better fate, even though Atlanta got 4 hits in the top of the 8th. The unearned run coming on the error by Jeff McKnight. Dallas Green following Eric down there, and certainly knows how he feels. Eric, a very emotional guy. Well, the Atlanta Braves have a new pitcher. Mark Wohlers is in there for Atlanta. He's 5-0. He has had 25 appearances this year, and in only 4 of those appearances has he given up runs. Boy, you don't want to slam your fist against the dugout. That's the only thing that is bad about that. You start pounding that left hand in there, and need a punching bag down there. A lot of teams have punching bags in the dugout.
And now Jeff Campbell laid it off, and Wohlers, who throws very hard, picks up a swinging strike.
California Angels are one team with a punching bag in the clubhouse, or leading from the dugout to the clubhouse. That way guys can take out their anguish on something soft.
And that little jammer gets Jeff Canters. He gets jammed by that fastball and pops it up to the pitcher. Scheduled up is Charlie O'Brien, but he will not be the batter, as Bobby Bonilla will bat for him. Bonilla, with a strained ligament, has trouble batting right-handed, but not from the left-hand side. He did not start today, so he is pinch hitting. This will be the first time that Bonilla has pinch hit this year. And Wohlers with a fastball for ball 1. Bonilla with a .255 batting average, 23 home runs, 65 runs batted in. That's trailing by 1, and Bonilla takes another fastball for ball 2. Mets led all the way until the top of the 8th, when the Braves got 3 runs, one of them unearned, and that was the run that put them ahead. Mets had scored a run in the 2nd and a run in the 3rd. And now trailing by 1, as Steve Bedrosian is on the winning side of this ball game, pitching 1 inning. And ball 3. Glavine off the hook. He left the game trailing 2-0.
As you're looking at our Toyota American League scoreboard, Toronto has won their game, and Boston beating the Yankees 5-0.
And Bonilla walks.
Baltimore losing big to Detroit. So their 8-game winning streak is over. They're a game and a half back. Unless the Yankees can rally, they'll be 2 games back, with Boston remaining a game behind the Toronto Blue Jays.
So the Mets with a runner at first base, needing one to tie, and Jeremy Burnitz will be the batter. Mark Stanton, the hard-throwing left-hander in the bullpen for the Braves. Burnitz 0 for 3, batting against the right-hand pitcher for the first time. And he fouls off the fastball. Burnitz recalled on June 20th. .263 batting average with 6 home runs, 20 runs batted in. And the fastball for strike 2. Burnitz with 7 runs batted in, a rookie record for a New York Mets player. In a game against Montreal. Right here with a 2-strike count, the time run at first, 1 man out, bottom half of the 8th inning. Has popped up to left field. Ron Gannon left, and 2 men away. That will bring up the schedule batter Tim Bogart, but I believe he's being called back, and the Mets will go to a pinch hitter.
I think it's going to be Todd Hundley because O'Brien is already out of the game. If you use Chico Walker, you would have to make a double switch. And I think Dallas is committed to leaving Eric Gilman in there to try to give him a chance to win the game if Hundley makes the last out. But the fact that O'Brien was pinch hit for by Bobby Bonilla means that you pinch hit Hundley here, and then if Hillman retires the Braves in the top of the 9th, and Chico Walker would lead off the bottom of the 9th inning.
Hundley hitting .214. He has a career high 8 home runs and a career high 35 runs batted in. He's 2 for 10 as a pinch hitter with 2 runs driven in. Hundley hitting much better as a right-hand batter. His average .286 as a right-hand batter, .202 as a left-hand batter. But he has hit all 8 of his home runs batting left-handed. So Hundley, the pinch hitter, as the Mets bat with 2 men out in the bottom of the 8th inning, trailing 3-2. And Waller's first pitch, the fastball for a called strike. Hundley batting for Tim Bogart, who drove in the first Mets run back in the 2nd inning. The Mets got another in the 3rd, and they've been held scoreless since. And that pitch just missing the inside part of the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike as Bowler stays inside. Neal, the runner at first, a short lead there. And he's hit in the air to center field. Playable for Nixon. And he puts it away, and that retires his side. A walk, the runner left, and the score at the end of 8. Atlanta 3, the Mets 2, and here's a word from Chemical.
Tonight after the game, is New Jersey ready to pitch for the Yanks? You will hear what Governor Florio has to say and Mets memories of the sloppiest World Series game ever. Join us.
Wholesale changes for the Mets. Bonilla, who is a pinch hitter, stays in the ballgame and takes over at 3rd base. Also in the ballgame is Kevin Baez at shortstop, replacing Bogart, who left for a pinch hitter. Orsulak, who was a pinch hitter, stays in the ballgame. He takes over in left field. And Hundley, who is a pinch hitter, is staying in behind the plate. McKnight actually has gone to shortstop, so he has moved from 3rd to short. And he is at shortstop, not Baez. And the first pitch as Hillman works here in the 9th inning, taken for ball 1. Bill Pacoda is the batter, and he fouls that one off in the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. Bill Pacoda, who played for the Mets last year, hitting .348 for Atlanta, and he drills one down the third. A great play by Bonilla, and he fires the first and gets Pacoda. Outstanding by Bonilla.
Wow, that's a big league play right there, especially since Bobby Bonilla was sitting out the whole game. He comes in the game, he walks as a pinch hitter, and his first chance, look at this, braces himself and throws out Pacoda. Fine play by Bobby Bonilla. Boy.
And now the batter, Otis Nixon, who started all the trouble in the 8th inning when he led off with his single and started a 3-run rally. And Nixon takes for strike 1. Nixon in this game, 2 for 3, also a walk. 3 of the 4 innings he has been on base. And he grounds this one to shortstop, picked up by McKnight, and the throw for the out.
Shortstop Jeff Blauser.
So 2 men away, top of the 9th inning. The Braves leading 3-2, and the batter will be Jeff Blauser. Blauser is 2 for 4 in the game. Bloop base hit in the 8th inning to set up the 3-run rally. And Hellman's pitch, a good breaking ball for a called strike. Blauser hitting .294. 10 home runs, 45 runs batted in, and he pops this one up into right center field. Over there is Thompson. And it's a 1-2-3 inning as Hellman pitches a complete game. The score at the end of 8.5 innings. Atlanta 3, the Mets 2, and here's a word from your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. Braves leading 3-2. Last chance for the Mets, bottom of the 9th inning. It'll be a new pitcher in for the Braves. And on our Nobody Beats the Wiz game summary, the Braves with 4 hits and 1 error that allowed the go-ahead run to score in the 8th produced 3 runs. Gavin worked 6 innings. He had a no decision in the ball game. McKnight 3 hits but 2 errors. Hillman 9 innings of work, 3 runs, 2 of them earned on 8 hits. All 8 Met base hits were singles, and now the Mets in their last chance here in the 9th against Greg McMichael,
who's 1-3 on the year, but he has 5 saves, and he has taken over the stopper's role from Mike Stanton of the Braves. A rather surprising development here.
And it's Chico Walker as a pinch hitter leading off. He goes after the first pitch, 1 away.
Think about the sense that bringing in McMichael, what it means. Chico Walker batting 100 points lower as a left-handed batter, and that's why Bobby Cox shrewdly brings in McMichael instead of Stanton. Stanton with 27 saves, McMichael with only 5, but it's McMichael that the Braves go to now with that wicked split-finger fastball.
And this is his first year in the major leagues, and he'll be working to Ryan Thompson. And Thompson gets a breaking ball for a called strike. Thompson in this game 1 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. And the split finger fastball swung on and missed at strike 2. Mets have left 7 men on in this game up through their first 8 innings. As have the Braves in their first 9 innings. And that pitch, the split finger fastball 1 and 2. Michael, the pitcher in for the Braves, the 4th used by Bobby Cox, pitcher of record Steve Bedrosian. And a base hit as Thompson reaches out, hits it hard to left field, and the Mets have the tying run at first base with one man out. And that will bring up Jeff McKnight, who has had a great night at the plate, but he's made 2 errors in the field, and one of them, the last one, allowed the unearned run across the plate that gave the Braves a 3-2 lead.
Jeff McKnight at the plate, and tonight, Mets Memories on Channel 9 News after the game. The longest and perhaps sloppiest World Series game ever. It included Willie Mays' last hit in the majors. That's tonight's Mets Memories on Channel 9 News with Russ Salzberg in the game.
McKnight 3 for 4 in this game. And he takes the first pitch for ball 1. One time they got McKnight out. He was robbed of an extra base hit and a fine play by Justice in right center. And the toss to first, Thompson back. All of McKnight's base hits have been singles. He's had 1 home run this year with 9 runs batted in, hitting .265. And he tries to hold, and it's in there for a called strike. 1-1.
Watch that ball toppling down. Knight did hold up in the strike zone.
McMitchell, a guy born in Knoxville, Tennessee, lives there. Home of Lindsey Nelson, former broadcaster of the Mets. And a ground ball to first. Taken by McGriff. He throws to the shortstop, covering the second for the forced play there. And the Mets are down to their last out.
That's an interesting play. By sliding into second base, Thompson clears the bag for Jeff Blauser's view. Watch how Thompson getting down allows Blauser to see the ball. Thompson going in hard to get Jeff Blauser. That throw came very close to hitting him.
And that brings up Eddie Murray with 2 men out. Murray has been held hitless tonight, but he has been a red-hot batter for the Mets. Their #1 RBI man. In a position now to prolong this ball game. 2 men out, bottom of the 9th inning, and he takes inside for a called strike. Murray with 432 home runs in his major league career. 19th from the all-time home run list. McMichael, the worker for the Atlanta Braves, and that split finger fastball outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Braves trying to stay even with the Giants today. The Giants won 2-1 over the Cincinnati Reds, and the pitch back to Murray, and this should be the ball game. High fly ball to Nixon in center, and that'll do it. So a heartbreaking loss for the New York Mets. They led 2-0 until the top of the 8th inning. The Braves got three runs in the 8th, the last one unearned, to take the lead 3-2. And the Mets lose it. Losing pitcher in the game, Eric Hillman, who went all of the way, his 2nd complete game in his major league career. The winner, Steve Bedrosian, who worked 1 inning in relief, his record 2-2. A save for McMichael. He is now with 5, make that 6 saves. His record 1-3 with 6 saves. And we'll be back with a wrap right after this word from Budweiser.
Coming up next, the wild man of 96th Street comes closer to getting his freedom. Also terror in a fast food restaurant as a gunman opens fire. Plus, Vince Coleman gets ready to turn himself into the LA Cops. Mets Memories, the longest and possibly sloppiest World Series game ever. And wouldn't you like to know what men daydream about the most while at work? Join us in a few moments. Now, back to Ralph and Tim.
Well, the Braves won it by a score of 3-2, scoring 3 runs. In the top of the 8th inning, one of them unearned, the last one unearned, that gave them the lead, and the Mets unable to come back and do anything about it as the Braves win the first game of this 3-game series. A well-played ball game and a real interesting game all the way down the line. The Mets with the early lead 2-0 and doing a good job playing until that 8th inning came along and that one error that really did cost the Mets the ball game.
Second error of the night for Jeff McKnight, and we mentioned it did overshadow his fine performance offensively. Jeff 3 for 5 on the night. Eric Hillman deserved a better fate. He pitched a shutout ball for 7 innings. And Otis Nixon, the guy, the real thorn in the Mets side, and he's been a thorn in a lot of teams' side, and that's why he's our Budweiser star of the game.
Right here, he steals a base to set up. In the 8th inning, he got on base 3 times as a leadoff batter, 2 hits and a walk, and that started the rally for the Atlanta Braves. And we'll be back with more right after this word from New York Telephone.
Mets lose to the Atlanta Braves. The Mets now 10-24 in one-run games. So the Mets lose it 3-2. They out-hit the Braves, but one of those errors very costly. The error by Jeff McKnight in the 8th inning, and the Mets lose it 3-2. Mets Baseball 93 has been brought to you by Budweiser, fresh, pure, natural, proud to be your bud. By the 9X Yellow Pages, it's surprising what the ads can tell you. By Midas, who ask you to stop in for an undercar inspection. It's the Midas way, the way it should be. By Macy's, we're a part of your life. By MetLife, get Met, it pays. By Chemical, expect more from us. And by Coca-Cola, always Coca-Cola with the Mets. Some of our guests will receive from Konica the iBoard camera. Konica also features the big mini zoom with built-in 35mm wide angle to 70mm close-up telephoto zoom lens. Plus, Konica's color print film, the right film for the right shot. Fans, be with us again on Friday at 7:30 when the Mets will be in Philadelphia to take on John Kruk and the Philadelphia Phillies, who won again tonight and are in first place. Mets Baseball 93 is produced and directed by Jeff Mitchell. Associate producer Steve Olbaum. Associate directors were John Calabrese and Howard Spalding. The announcers on the preceding telecast were approved and contracted for by Sterling Doubleday Enterprises. As always, our executive producer is Rick Miner. This has been a presentation of WWOR-TV, Channel 9 Sports. Good evening, everybody.